What I'm about to show you is some before and after footage of elite swimmer Solomon Wright. We recorded him in 2018, just after he won the Rottnest Channel swim in record time. And leading up to that swim, he had some issues with his shoulders where he was dealing with injury. He wasn't able to swim for quite a while. And then we filmed him in just the last couple of months. And most recently, he won the New Zealand 10 kilometre open water championship. And there's been quite a big difference in his stroke in the last 12 months. A lot of it due to overcoming the injury and developing the strength to be able to maintain a better position in the water. But he was also focused on some aspects of his stroke, most notably his catch. But there are some other things that's actually impacted and improved just by working on those two things. Now, there's a podcast that goes along with this video. If you haven't listened to the episode with Solomon, go and check it out at the Effortless Swimming Podcast. I'll put a link below to that as well. And let's take a look at some of the footage. Now, if you want to get the full footage and the full analysis of Solomon, it's in the Effortless Swimming membership, and there's a link to that below as well. So let's take a look at these main changes that Solomon's been through in the last 12 months. And they're very subtle, but all of these things really start to add up, especially over 10 kilometers. And you'll really start to be able to see them and identify them as we start to slow it down and we look a little bit closer. Let's take a look at some of the changes in Solomon's stroke from the filming that we recorded just after his Rottnest Channel win in 2018 and to just before he won the New Zealand 10 kilometre championship. Now, there's very subtle differences here, and a lot of it came down to developing the strength to be able to maintain a better position. And one of the exercises he mentioned was the seated row, where he was working on his lat strength, his trap strength, and not relying on too much of his pecs to do a lot of the work, where in some of these things that we'll look at right now, you'll notice that because he didn't have the strength through the back of the shoulders, through the upper back muscles, that he was a little bit more rounded through the shoulders, relied more on his pecs, and didn't quite have that strength through the back of the shoulders to be able to maintain the better position that you'll see in this before and after video. So let's go to the front here. Now, on the left, this is the before. On the right, this is the after. So one of the most notable changes is the angle of the catch. This is something that we always look at clinics and when I'm coaching people in the online membership. Is on the before, you'll notice his arm angle here as he's about to pass under the shoulder. 126 degrees, still good. Obviously, he's still swimming fast. But on this right-hand side, you'll now notice that he's got the elbow out a little bit wider. Okay, the hand is on the inside there. He's at around about 118, maybe 120 degrees through the arm. The range that we want is at 100 to 120 degrees. And now he's there that he's got the strength. Another thing that you'll also notice here is on the right-hand side, his shoulders and his upper arm is almost one straight line as he's about to pass under the shoulder. Whereas here, you'll notice this arm is a lot deeper. We've kind of got these three angles here. We have 1, 2, 3. Whereas on the right-hand side, the after video, it's more those two angles. That's really what we see with some of the best swimmers in the world is the upper arm and the shoulders line up as they're about to pass under the shoulder there. It's just a much stronger position to be in. And you notice that with that strength, he's able to maintain that position. So that's one of the most notable differences that we see here with his catch. Similar thing on the right-hand side, or his right arm. He's quite deep with that arm there, 144 degrees. But here he manages to get that arm angle within the range that we want. Right, smack bang on, 120. So big difference there from the front. You'll also notice, actually we'll look from the top view, this is a better view. You'll now notice from the side shot, one of the things he also focused on, that he had the strength and ability to hold a better position. He wanted to get the catch or start the catch from a higher position, start that setup earlier. On this top shot, this is the before, you'll notice that his fingertips are actually a little bit up above his elbow, and we've got this bit of a drop through the elbow there. Whereas now, with that better strength, that's a much better position. We want this really gradual downwards angle where the fingers are below the wrist is below the elbow as he goes to start the catch. That's the position we want to get to because you can set up the catch so much better when you're there. And let's just see what happens next. So now, again, you can just see how much higher he's able to start that catch. We're starting to see this high elbow position come into play, whereas here we're still in that slightly dropped position. And then as we move through it, one of the things you'll also see here is he manages to get just a slightly better angle through his catch. It's probably better shown on some of these shots right here. So as he's about to finish the catch, if we look at the angle here, all right, so we're about straight with the arm, and here we've got this slight high elbow catch position. So if we look at that angle, 170 versus 180, and it's even probably a little bit more on a few other strokes as well. So that just goes to show he's getting a higher elbow position. And like we say at our clinics and coaching people, you don't need to go for anything really extreme as you go for your catch. If you think of like the traditional 90-degree high elbow catch, it's too awkward for most people. And I mean, Solomon's swimming 10Ks and 20Ks at Rottnest. He's not going to be looking to hold that 90-degree high elbow ideal position the whole time. So he's still in the high elbow position. That's all that we need. You'll also see it on his left arm, just that better catch position. So much better through here. Again, if we look at this angle, he's fairly straight with this arm, 180 degrees. Similar thing on his left side. He's just starting to get a bit more of an angle through there. So again, 170 degrees. So these really subtle differences start to add up the more that we see them. Now, the top shot here, you'll notice that he's got much less of a crossover in this after video down the bottom. Up the top, in the same phase of the stroke, this arm was tracking in quite a bit. And it's from that rounded shoulders position. So he didn't have because of the injury, he didn't have the strength and ability to be able to engage the lats, engage the traps, keep that strong, keep that switched on, and keep the lead arm in line with the shoulder. We were getting this sort of rounded shoulder position where the scapula is protracted. It's sort of come forwards up in this direction, which often causes that arm to cross over. So he's got much better alignment in this bottom video. And again here, so there's still this slight crossover, very minimal. It's just coming close to the center. It's not crossing the center, but here we do see that the hand crosses that center line, whereas here he hasn't. He's just come close, and nothing wrong with coming close to the center. We just don't want to cross it. So again, you can just see how that strength has impacted his alignment through the stroke too. Now, one of the other things we'll look at here. So this shot, there's sort of not too much to see from this side shot. That's quite similar. We do see a little bit of a change when we cut to the front view, when we look at him swimming in this position, mostly with this side here. Now, one of the things he's adjusted is he's recovering a little bit wider in this after video. So if we look at this angle with the arm, he's almost 90 degrees in that recovery, whereas here he was quite close. It was roughly 75 degrees when I measure that correctly, compared to around about 90 degrees with the other arm. So what's he doing? He's just getting his hand out a bit wider. It's a more natural position to be in. It's an easier position to be in for a lot of people. And that's one thing that we encourage when we are coaching people is you don't need this really high elbow, hand close to the body position like that zipper or fingertip, really close fingertip drag drill. A more natural position is out wider, and you can see that's where he is. And that's also helped with his stroke. Left arm, similar to where it was before. And the last view here, this is where you can sort of see everything come together, as in he's starting the catch a bit higher. Now, the top view, this is the after, this is the before video. So you'll notice just how much higher he starts his catch on this top view here. So here he's setting himself up very nicely at the very top of the catch there, right in line with the shoulder. Whereas on this bottom view, we're in this dropped elbow position still. And then he eventually gets it down about now, right there. So you can just see that difference. It's about, it's going to be a good 15 centimeter difference, maybe even 20 centimeter difference with where he begins his catch. So it's just he's being able to give himself more time, more space to set up the catch. The other thing you can see here with this arm, the fingertips are sort of coming, they end up sort of coming into the center a bit too much. They're not necessarily facing down to the bottom of the pool where we want them. Whereas on this arm, it's more straight down. And again, that's just where we want to be. So really subtle changes there, and you do need to slow it down to be able to see it. But you can just see 12 months of work, 12 months of strength development and focus on improving his technique has led to some pretty good things in becoming the New Zealand 10K open water champion. So even at the very top level, they're working on their stroke. They're looking to develop their technique and strength and ability to hold it. So if you think that technique's not important, then you're really missing out on one of the biggest things that can make a difference in your stroke.